get back to the team size. That is, so you kind of 4x the team or 3 to 4x the team in a couple of years. What were the challenges in kind of maintaining that culture, right? That culture of scrappiness that got you guys where you were. And then how do you think about recruiting? Like what types of people do you look for? How do you approach that part of the process?
Very great questions, because these are questions that we need to address ourselves, on a constant basis. So first and foremost, because it has always been a remote culture, we have been very fortunate. So our core team is so embracing that work from home culture, and they want to maintain that anytime we bring a person in, it's never like, oh, we are the OGs and you are the newbies. It was never that. It was more
Yep.
about, how do I help you acclimate? So our HR has done a fantastic job where everyone has what we call a bond buddy. So it's somebody that is, that started with the company. They have, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, depending on when they were hired. And then on top of that, by the time I started, I was the second C-suite. We brought in our CFO, so the third C-suite. All three of us are what we call working C-suite. So we don't have the luxury of sitting around and delegate traffic and kind of like, oh, you do this and you do that. My CFO manages supply chain, IT, and finance. So he understands all the inner workings. He is working closely with the team. The team has a leadership, a C-suite leadership that they can talk to and really interact with. And it feels empowering, right? My COO is also the chief legal officer who handles all of sales, professional as well as retail sales and education. So she's a working C-suite person. And myself, as the CEO, until I brought on the CMO, I was essentially marketing, digital, e-commerce, which is direct to consumer, R&D. So
Yep.
with all of that, when we are working, all these different, even though they are separate groups, but each one of them has someone to be accountable for, and they know that you are as powerful. Because remember, the C-suite is actually a body, a collection of thought leaders. It's not
Yep.
like, it's not a hierarchy like the CEO is here and then the CFO is here. It's not that way. And when
Yep.
you have people realizing that they are reporting to somebody who can make critical decisions and who can empower them and who can promote them, you find that they give their best. And so when we are hiring people, we hire people who really want to be more than what they think they could be on their own, and that they enjoy the camaraderie and the team spirit and the understanding that there's not one path to success. Because if we were a more traditional company, guess what? All our job openings would be preferably an MBA. We don't do
Yeah.
that. We
Yeah.
we talk about experience. We talk about people wanting to be part of this culture that we have. And I think you get people who apply to you that ordinarily you may not consider if you're a more traditional big company type. And then you
Yep.
realize, oh my gosh, there's so much talent out there that have great ideas, and they really can bring a different perspective to the organization. I mean, a great example is my social media team. I have not added to that team other than the original team. But if anybody was to do a study on my social media team, they will never quite figure out, why does this team work and other teams don't work. And the reason why is, virtually everyone on my social media team have been a hairdresser before. They understand how the hairdresser think and take. And when we have an issue with anything, they are our voice and they believe us. Like my QVC host is a former hairdresser. So when she's on TV talking about Olaplex, the professional community is engaged. They
Yeah.
listen to her. They are not saying, why is Olaplex on QVC? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are the channel conflict that I don't have to spend too much time on, but rather focus on channel synergies.